on the cloud? You got recording?
Yep. So any
Recording on the
broadcast.
cloud?
No.
Okay, good. I don't know what happened last time.
Yes, and we're recording, and it says to the cloud.
Let's just give Freddie another second here.
Wait, what is Freddie's number? Is it 412? Wait, I'm not going to give out the entire number actually because we're recording. But
Does it end in 7890?
Yeah, we'll just clip this part of the video.
Okay.
He's actually listed as an attendee.
Yeah, he's in there. So I'm going to promote him to allow him to talk. And let's see if I think I can promote him. All right. Well, he's permitted to talk. So.
Yeah. Did you promote him? You promoted him to the what? To a panelist?
I'm not sure if it will let me because it was a call in.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to move forward with the opening of the meeting. Okay. The call to order for the council meeting of Monday, June 8th, 2020 for the Borough of Crafton. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alo.
Here.
Mr. Amendola. He's probably muted, is that correct?
I'm not sure if we've got the right person in.
All right.
Is that Fred or is that Mark?
The 7890?
Okay,
That's
that's
Mark.
you. Okay.
You're looking for one that ends in, just a second here, 5466.
There is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not listed.
Okay, so he hasn't
Okay.
gotten in, so let's move on.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Kraus.
Present.
Mr. Crown.
Present.
Mr. Lavasser.
Present.
Ms. Perry.
Here,
Mr. Sala.
Present.
Mayor Bloom.
Present.
Mr. Corbel, solicitor.
Present.
Mr. Minsterman, engineer.
Present.
And I am here as well. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. May I have the approval of the bill list June 8th, 2020?
so moved.
Seconded.
Questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All that oppose? Bills list pass. Approval of the minutes for May 27th, 2020?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All that oppose? Minutes pass. Thank you. Moving on to citizens' comments. Please note that all public comments will be heard at the beginning of the meeting due to the online meeting format. At this time, citizens may address the Borough of Crafton. Council speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Please state your name and physical address for the record. All right. Do we have anybody in the room that wants to speak? Deborah.
For those of you that don't know, please use the raise hand feature and I will unmute you. It looks like we have one already. Deborah, I will want you to talk.
All right.
Deborah, you should be able to hear us. Can we hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Dan.
Yes.
All right. Yes, please.
Okay, this is Dan Cindric. I'm Deborah Darnborough's husband. 45 Creighton Avenue. And can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to bring up a point. Since school is out now and there's more kids playing out on the streets and in the alleys. I noticed a number of times of cars and trucks going up and down the alleys, especially by my house, where there's probably, a dozen kids who are under 12 riding skateboards or bicycles, or my next door neighbor is a 5-year-old learning to ride a bike. I think we need to have more of either children at play signs or putting stop signs on the telephone poles where there are blind intersections, like the one behind the elementary school that you guys put up last year, to slow the drivers down, and of course to protect the kids. So if there's anything that you guys can do, it would be helpful. I noticed there's some parents who are buying signs and putting them up on the streets. This is not a freeway type of signs. And it's going to be that way all summer with the kids not being able to go to their normal recreation activities in the summertime. So it would be helpful if you could.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Anybody else in the audience?
So, Philip, Edward, I see that we have, Fred is here, and it has Anthony Saba name. He has Anthony Saba's name.
Okay, I'll rename him right now.
Thank you.
Yep.
And Ross, you want to mark? Fred, do you want to say you're here?
All right, here, unmute him.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. All right, he's here. All right, great. See you in the flesh. All right. Okay, so moving forward to the president's report, we had an executive session to discuss real estate and personnel matters. No actions were taken. I would just want to say thank you to the Crafton Police Department for all their efforts to keep the community safe over the past a few months with the pandemic and with some of the current events in the area. So again, thank you for standing guard and watching out for the community. I'm gonna move on to the mayor's report.
I would kind of like to echo what you just said, Mr. President. The chief of police and I have been daily discussing what's been going on in the as far as the pandemic and the COVID-19 reports. The chief and his officers have done an outstanding job for this community and continue to do so. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, engineers report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have anything to add. There's to the report itself. Everything on the report is current and up to date. I take it back. There is one thing I want to mention. So if anybody has any questions about any of the items on the report, you can let me know. But the one item I did want to let you know about was related to the Greenlight Go grant program, where you got 85% on the dollar for the replacement of several signals throughout the municipality. And just to let you know that PennDOT has canceled the program. So they're not taking more applications. They've actually defunded anyone that's in design. So the fact that your work is done, you'll receive the grant. And I'm just saying, nice job on doing them all at once, because if we would have done one each year, they would not be funded. Even if we were in design, they canceled the project. So that's not to say that the program may start up in a couple years, but for now, definitely it's terminated. So good job on getting all those out of the
Go
game.
big or go home, right? That's what we said.
That worked.
Did they explain why it's discontinued or?
It's related to the COVID situation and their lack of funding, or I should say, excess funding.
Thank you. All right, and then we had two of the LOIs, or a few of the LOIs for letters of intent for the public here. For Alcosan, they're moving on to the next phase of evaluation, and hopefully those grants will be awarded as well this fall. Is that correct?
Yes, I think all but two of the projects, and those were the two smallest projects. They basically were saying that they didn't have enough impact. Apparently, the program is getting very competitive, like we predicted that it would. And the two smaller projects, I think it was Perrine was one, maybe Emerson was the other, that they felt that did not have a huge impact, certainly not like the other projects that have been offered by Crafton. So they're estimating about $7 million in funding available for your project so far. So yes, the next step is to continue through the process on the projects that have been proposed, that the letter of interest, which was how you propose a project to Alcosan, those were approved, and now the applications are due at the end of July, and that requires a 60% design completion for projects under $1 million and a 90% completion on design for projects over $1 million. So we're on task to meet those deadlines because once again, you were early out of the gate in getting us working on these, because there's not much time between when they tell you it's okay to submit an application and then the actual date to submit the application, especially when they're asking for at least 60% of the engineering, the surveying, right-of-ways, and engineering design, all between they just awarded. So June, you have 2 months essentially to do survey, at least get intent on right-of-ways, and 60% design. So those projects have been initiated, so there won't be any problem with meeting those deadlines and getting those applications in for consideration. And I'm going to predict approval. It's just a matter of what percentage. Obviously, we're shooting for 85% match.
Well, great job on hitting those benchmarks. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, moving forward to the solicitor's report.
I have nothing to add this evening, Mr. President.
All right, I'm not going to skip your report this evening. Manager's report. And we're going to unmute you. There you go. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm at the office and my internet conditions, they're all of Mr. Musterman's report. Is green light go a go?
Yes. Yeah, everything that you've done, you're in construction.
Okay.
So you're good.
Okay, Rick, I'll talk to you later about that. That's all I needed to know. Thanks.
Sure.
I'll try to be brief. There was a announcement made. It's out on Savvy. The parks are open. Posting signs have been posted to help people remember to use keep the distance from each other. There is a discussion item a little bit later on the community center, so I won't get into that. The pool remodeling grant today with other Gateway engineers, and we are now being able to draw down on that grant and get things started. And the bid specs are in the midst of being prepared and should be out for the pool itself for sure within a week or two, and for the playground. So that finally came through. There's a motion a little bit later on about demolishing 2 condemned homes. We recently received word that $40,000 CDBG grant in addition to that, and those bid specs are also in the midst of being approved for advertisement. We had the meeting on the 2020 road program with the contractor. He assured us that that road program will come to fruition in 2020. And we have no choice but to take him at his word, but hopefully that'll go smoothly. And I told you about the grant. There is a slight, we got word today, the Oregon gas line replacement project is now finally able to start back up. They have a long delay, so it's still going to be a few more weeks before they can make the connections into the homes, and that's been the delay part of that project. But they are back to work, and now under green, able to enter people's homes. And that's about all I have.
All right. Well, I think you and the team have been doing an excellent job. Public Works Director Kazarowski, thank you for all the efforts that you've been putting forth. I think that project on Bradford turned out very well. I think we're going to get the asphalt in, but I think the issue that you fixed with the drainage is probably going to be well received by everybody during the winter months. So again, thank you for all the work you put in with your team there.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, could I possibly ask a question to Rick or Rob?
Sure.
Right after Crafton Boulevard gets paved between, what is that, South Emily and the bridge, there's all kind of PA1 call and lines at the corner of Hawthorne and the Boulevard. And I'm assuming that this is possibly for the Johnson Street project. They're going to dig the Crafton Boulevard up again.
Let's unmute Rick. Rick, can you speak to that?
Yeah, I thought Rob was going to jump in on it. Yeah, I'm trying to, can you tell, it is over by North Emily. So that project does come down and eventually intersect back into the roadway because it's mainly in the backyards. Is that what you're talking about, Mayor?
Well, what I'm discussing is the Crafton Boulevard was just paved like 3 weeks ago. Now they're going to, is it true that they're going to dig that whole street up again at the intersection at Hawthorne for this sewer project that goes between Johnston and North Emily?
I think that the Johnston North Emily project is in the backyards. It's not on the street.
Yeah, well, the one call was for that project. So all those markings that are on the street are for the Johnston Street project. The contractor's the one to put the one call in. So I don't know what the extent of the excavation is going to be, but the one call for those markings all came in for the contractor for the Johnston Street project.
So is there
Right.
any way we can find out what it, because I saw it as well too.
Yeah, it's all in the drawings. That's why I'm a little,
Right.
the LOD of our project doesn't include Crafton Boulevard. So
No,
I'm
they
a
just
little,
mark
I'm a
them.
little perplexed. Maybe they're just doing line locating.
Yeah, that's all that it is. There's usually an extended area for demarcation. There might be a tie-in. Obviously, I can't remember the exact drawing myself, but obviously the sewer line replacement has to start and stop somewhere. So there could be a tie-in on one of those streets. But I just don't know for sure. But it's not going to get tore up again, Mayor, from that perspective. All that work for Emily and North Emily and Johnston are in the backyards from one street
If
to
I
the.
may comment.
Yeah,
May I
yes,
comment?
yes, Russ.
Okay, yeah, we had a pre-construction meeting on that last week. The only street work would be on the lower end of Johnston. That's where the line starts. It then meanders into the backyard through a property, and we have an easement on that to the main line. But there is a connection, I believe, Rick, on Crafton Boulevard, just one. I'm fairly certain of that. So it's probably just for that.
Yep, that sounds right. Like I said, you got to start and stop the sewer somewhere. So there probably is going to be a patch on, I don't know where the new pavement is, so I can't say for sure, but it is going to at some point come down and tie into, Jim, it's right in front of where we got the easement from your neighbor. It comes down through their yard and then ties into that street.
Right, that easement comes out onto Johnston Street, but it was
Okay.
just at the top end where you said where the start would be.
Okay.
It's like, they just paved it, a brand new paving job that was supposed to have been done last year. It gets done this year, it looks great. Now there's all kind of markings like they're gonna dig the street up for this sewer project. Now we got a patchwork again.
Yeah, and I think we're not going to have that situation because these guys are supposed to have that all coordinated, right?
I don't know where the tie-in is. I don't know how far it comes down. I don't know where it's paved, so I can't say for sure. I just know that Emily in North Johnson has been ready for construction for a while. So I'm just not familiar with where the pavement limits are to say. I don't know, Russ, if you've seen them, or Rob.
Crafton Boulevard, the whole thing's paved. The intersection at Hawthorne was paved last year, so I'm not sure of the parameters, where the tie-in's going to be. If it's on
Yeah.
Crafton Boulevard, if it's in it might have to tie in to that one section on Hawthorne or Crafton Boulevard. I'm not sure though.
Well, we'll pull the drawings and see.
All right, great. All right. I'm going to move. Thank you. So I'm going to move forward to the business agenda. Are we clear to move forward, manager, to move forward to the business agenda? I'm trying to unmute him.
I think that's a yes.
Yeah, we're clear to move forward with the business agenda.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The internet in this building is, I keep jumping in and out. I'll not use my office again, I promise.
Well, I'm sure we can remedy that moving forward. All right. So moving forward to the business agenda under administration, motion to approve resolution number 2020-08 that authorizes the chief of police to sign the agreement allowing the police department to participate in the West Hills DUI task force.
So moved.
moved.
Second.
All right. Any questions, comments?
I do have a question.
Mhm.
If the mayor can just explain what that means, how many officers will be involved, and are we going to have any task force in the borough?
The task force will be working through the chief of police, and he will send officers as necessary when they're having the task force working. Chief, you're still on there. You can give Mr. Crown some better detail.
I will unmute him. Go.
Okay, just to
Unmute.
clarify what this is under the PA Buckle Up program, which we participate in for the Click It or Ticket program, that has been resolved through the state of Pennsylvania and is now all the funds are being allocated to the West Hills DUI task force. We hadn't previously belonged to the DUI task force. My predecessor did not want that to occur. After that, I tried to get involved with the DUI task force. They told me I had to wait till somebody got off, but now they're allowing me to join. That was the primary concern. Also, we can now do the DUI checkpoints. At some point, I think there's 16 municipalities in the DUI task force. It will come around to us at some point. I don't know the exact date. A lot of my officers are already standard field sobriety certified. Some of them are ARED trained, and the only other training they need is for a DUI checkpoint training, which I have talked to Captain Ogden from Moon Township, who runs the program, and as soon as we sign this agreement, everything will be moving forward.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? Hearing none, motion passes. Motion to approve an estimated expenditure of $26,872 for the purchase of 10 body-worn cameras, related hardware and software from WatchGuard Video Incorporated under CoStar's contract number 012-073.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So this will be for the police, correct?
That's
Yes.
correct.
Okay. And how is this information being stored? And what are the protocols around the cameras? What's the departmental procedures about usage of cameras? Can we have some debate or explanation on that?
Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, would you like me to unmute the chief to speak about this?
Yes.
Yes, please do.
Okay, under the body-worn cameras, the part of the bid is for a server in my office. I presently have a server right now for the 3 mobile cameras in the cars, which are also WatchGuard. These body-worn cameras will work in conjunction with those. Presently, the server I have is from 2014 and does not hold enough storage space for the body-worn cameras. So that is one of the expenditures for a new server, which will be in my office. And I will have the ability to pull data right from those cameras. They're also, and I gave it to the manager, to the manager. I also have a copy of it. I just needed to put it in our format, detailed policy as far as body-worn cameras, which goes into a lot of detail as far as when the cameras have to be turned on, when they're not turned on, where the information would be stored, how long the information has to be stored for. So it's quite detailed. It's a pretty lengthy document.
Where does that document come from?
It's presented through the District Attorney's Office in Allegheny County Police and Chiefs Association.
So it would be a standardized protocol that I would assume those municipalities that are part of the Allegheny Chiefs Association would be also following?
Yes.
Okay. And so would the officers have the ability to turn their cameras on and off independently?
No, it's set by policy. It's in the policy when the cameras have to be on. Like I said, there's a complete detailed list of when and when not. But the cameras have to be activated by the policy at certain times.
So who would be in charge of turning them on and off for a shift?
Well, they don't run the entire shift. They're turned on by the officer when they're at a situation or an incident, and it's guided by the policy that they're required to have that camera on. If it's not, then it obviously goes to some type of disciplinary action.
They're not,
Okay.
Brad, they're not going to run 8 hours while an officer's on duty. He's into the station, he uses the restrooms, that type of stuff. But when they respond to calls or incidents, that's when the cameras, by order, will be turned on.
Right. So if he was to get out, he or she was to get out of their vehicle and approach the driver's side or passenger side of a stopped vehicle, that's when, once they exit the vehicle, they would turn it on, or do they depend on the dash cam? Like, I guess that's the type of interplay or policy we're just curious about.
It's actually, that's the reason I wanted to go with the same body-worn cameras as the systems I have in the car. The body-worn cameras run in conjunction with the cameras in the vehicles. If you're on a traffic stop and you have the lights on, it automatically activates that body-worn camera in addition to the camera in the car.
So when the lights go on for any kind of, I'm just, you can educate me because I'm naive to the terminology, but if you turn your lights on for any kind of stop, so if you roll up to someone's apartment because there's a call, that body camera goes on and the dash camera goes on, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
What
and
about,
so that information is being stored on the server in your office. Where would the backup be?
There doesn't have to be a backup because of the fact that it's a complete server system that's located in my office.
Right. So there's probably some type of data integrity or password system that would acknowledge when you would, let's say, delete data or something along those. Any kind of change log would be there. It sounds like this is a pretty readily commercially available software that has those types of safeguards built in.
Right, and
It's
it's probably self-replicating, I'm assuming, similar to the servers I have for my own business, where there are multiple, strike hard drives, and they're done in such a way that one or two can go down at any one time, and you generally don't lose data. But I am just surmising, so we have the opportunity to look into those details if we wish.
Yeah, and I think what Brad was trying to point to is it's not as if any officer can go in there and delete a record, and when you delete a record, it gets recorded as, the chief went in and cleared out, 90 days of history because there was nothing eventful, and he can maintain the integrity of the system. So that's from what I understood about the system. So
Now, the chief will be the only officer in the department that has access to the files and the ability to edit or monitor. So no one else, the officers can't go in and touch that because it's all locked up in his office and it's all password protected also.
Yep.
But they can turn the cameras on and off independently. And I understand your point about, you're eating lunch, you're using the restroom. I understand that stuff. Times they're not working, they're in the building. So what is the policy that we have in place and the enforcement action behind that policy to make sure that the officers are following it, is my question.
Go ahead, Chief.
I don't presently have the policy in front of me. If you want to stop down or whatever, you're more than welcome to look at it. Like I said, it's a pretty lengthy document, and the manager does have a copy of it.
I actually have,
well, I can get it from the manager as well. Thank you.
so I have two questions. With the body cam, does that include audio recording that automatically is triggered as well when videos are turned on?
Yes.
Okay. And the second question, after approving this, if this is approved, how long would it take to have these cameras put in place and having the officers starting to use them?
I don't presently know the turnaround time, obviously. With what's going on right now, it's something that's in pretty high demand. I can find out the answer to that, but I do not have that at this time.
Thank you.
Mr. President, Mr. Crown has his hand raised and has had it raised for a while.
all right, Mr. Crown.
Yeah, I think that somebody asked a question about the audio. Do we also have audio on the dash cams of the vehicle so that they would coincide with each other?
Presently, because of you have to give verbal warnings when you walk up to the car that they're being audio recorded. That feature in the cameras in the car, because of that fact, has not been activated. It gives us a little bit, more ability to view what's going on than to have the audio on it. But the body cameras are a completely different story.
Well, can we not then just turn on the cameras and have that announcement made as part of the policy?
Well, that's what I'm saying. As far as the body cameras, that is the policy, and they automatically, because we have the state legislature has changed that for body cameras, the legislation on them.
Yeah, I was asking, can we change the policy on the dash cams to announce you're being video recorded or an audio recorded?
We can. The difference is it's going to be a moot point when we get the body cameras, because it's not going to coincide with each other. I mean, we will have recordings from the body cameras, so It's just another piece of equipment that we would have to be carrying instead of, the body cameras on ourselves.
All right.
So we don't have the mics for the camera in the cars then, is that what you're saying? I'm just trying to, like, you watch a TV show, Mark, and you see that they have the audio cameras in the cars going and their audio. So I wanted to just, in my mind, see how that correlated with what we're doing.
Can I jump 1 second, please? The state wiretap law from years gone by prohibited the audio taping of the cameras in the cars. Now, I'm assuming that law has changed that now permits this to happen. So that's probably why the microphones were never installed, if they are attached, I would say, to the cameras in the car.
Yeah, I think they did, Mayor. There's the presumption of privacy. I think that's changed for that. Now, just my question, if we're having them both, just have them coincide, but that's a policy procedure.
Okay.
Mr. President, I would just like to add one more thing. It's less of a question, more of a statement, but rather that these body cameras were budgeted for by last year's council in our current budget.
Yeah, in part, I think we had a increase. We were budgeting over 2 years, so I think we're just moving forward and going to make the purchase ahead of schedule due to the circumstances that we've been seeing. It's for the officers and the public's overall safety, and it's been a planned expenditure. So, all right. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? All right. Motion passes. Motion to approve an estimated expenditure. Sorry. Motion to authorize Gateway Engineers to perform the necessary site work for construction of an equipment storage garage at Public Works facility.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? Hearing none. Motion passes. Motion to authorize Gateway Engineers to prepare the bid specifications for the demolition of the condemned properties located at 1528 Bar Avenue and 52 Baldwick Road.
So moved.
Seconded.
Seconded. Good
All
for you,
right.
Coletta.
There you go.
Let's get that thing out of there.
Questions? No, I think the manager's going to try to get a package deal and get a good price on both. So thank you. They both need to be remedied. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? All right, motion passes. Motion to appoint Jacqueline Lavasser and Anthony Saba to the Recreation Board to fill the vacant positions that expire September 30th, 2023, and to appoint Lori Garland to the vacancy expiring December 31st, 2020.
So moved.
Seconded.
Questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? All right, motion passes. All right, discussion items. Request from Ryder Truck Rental located in the city of Pittsburgh to run a sewer line from their facility and tap into one of our main lines that runs along Ingram Ave. All right, so Rick, as we discussed earlier, and Manager McKibben, would we be getting the sewer fees? Would they be paying to us? And just to clarify for the public and for council.
Yeah, so, excuse me, the tap-in fee would be whatever we deem it need to be. We can have an agreement of some sort, of which I'm sure we'll bring the solicitor in on. The billing will be the same because their water company is the same as ours. And it'll be billed the very same way. The Yeah, so in that respects, yes, we'll be getting the same income we would get off a resident, or maybe there's something else that needs to be looked at. And then
But we
also,
want to
and
get
all- go ahead.
storm, right? This excludes their storm water. This is just raw sewage.
Sanitary only on a very small bathroom, and
Okay.
not very little, not much of a volume at all. There's only one or two people that work there at any shift. And then, of course, all fees related to it on our end, both engineering, coordination, and or legal, before we even made one step at all, would have to be ironed out, and everything, the whole cost borne by Ryder. I don't know if Rick has anything else to add.
No, just the one thing was we talked about getting a retainer from them,
Right.
to cover those costs, and then the municipality could pay whatever expenses you had, and then pull from the retainer. And this way, you're guaranteed that you don't have any expenses put towards this; that they all come from the applicant.
Okay.
And Mr. Manager, my understanding is the reason why they need to tap into one of our lines is because the city's requiring them that they require to tap into a sewer line, but there is no sewer line nearby where the nearest sewer line. Is that correct?
Pretty much correct. Yes. The nearest sewer line being offered by the PWSA is quite a distance away, and would involve 4 different bends in the line to get there, where they have a straight shot to our line. And I think Rick would agree, a sewer lateral with 4 bends in it is probably not a good idea.
Can I ask a question to the engineer? Is this kind of thing is this commonplace for this kind of governmental agreement when it comes to these type of things?
Not usually. Usually there is a solution within the municipality that the resident or the business resides. In this case, that solution is very expensive and very cumbersome. So that's why they're approaching Crafton to tie into that line in lieu of, I think it's a 400-foot plus long lateral to get to a sewer line that actually hasn't been confirmed of its existence. So that's why they're reaching out to Crafton.
And therefore, this is
Thank you.
an example of Crafton working with the city of Pittsburgh, because we're helping out one of their commercial properties. Right?
Yes.
Yes. So just add that to the list of teamwork. All right. So you'll give us updates as this proceeds?
Yeah, if it requires an action item, we'll put that together for a motion in action.
Okay, thank you. Community room usage and rules under the governor's green zone. So, Russ, you want to speak to that?
Sure. I'm just looking for a little bit of guidance from council and their thoughts. We did open up the parks, and we are doing some rentals for residents down in the park. But we didn't make a decision on how we're going to handle the community room, which is currently still closed. And I just like to hear some thoughts and guidance as to how you would like to proceed.
All right. Well, and initially, my thought is if the room was to be opened, it should be opened up to Crafton residents and Crafton sponsored events, and that the cleaning fee should be included in the rental. Typically, that's what the purpose of the fee is, to cover those expenses. So if there's an additional fee to meet CDC guidance for COVID clean, I think that's only fair to the taxpayers that the fee reflect that.
Sorry, go ahead. No, Russ. Whoever that was, I cut off. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No problem. I guess my question is, I understand that concept, and I actually agree with it, but a lot of the users of that, either that community room or council chambers and or the caucus room, which I conclude with all of them, are actually borough committees or
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna be a skunk at the picnic here and just say, I'd rather just take a measured approach. I know that the spotlight is off of COVID, but COVID's still out there right now, and I think some of the outdoors activities at the parks where you can maintain more of a social distancing, the cleaning costs are less. You're outside with the heat and humidity, and that there's not circulated air. I think those are the things we should be going in a kind of more of a measured approach. My concern would be, if you have a lot of folks in the community room and it's recirculated air, you're not social distancing, those types of things. So I would prefer to keep that off of the borough's liability for the time being, since I don't want to make precedents and jurisprudence here in this community for down the road. So, I think that personally, just from this council person's opinion, that we should maintain the status quo as far as the parks first, and then, maybe later in the summer we can discuss it again. But I'm going to say right now, it's a no from me.
Well, I'm just interrupt. Oh, well, Anthony, you can go ahead first because I think you. But
I was going to ask because I know we received from one of the organizations, we received guidance on the parks. Has there been anything on community rooms, whether other than the cleaning, whether, if folks are in there, if they have to wear masks, what that guidance would look like?
Yeah, the guidance includes wearing masks, social distancing, occupancy limitation. Again, the cleaning policy is a big aspect of this. And when it comes to our boards and commissions, I believe that they should be using Zoom, and we can provide them credentials to Zoom so they can do the same thing council's doing, at least until the governor's declaration is in effect. And when that ends, maybe we can reconsider, but I think we should do what Brad's suggesting. I mean, that's a more conservative approach, but I think Zoom's been working out very well for council. It's been working out for planning commission as well. Does anybody else have any questions or would like to second this idea?
I think I just saw a tumbleweed blow by.
I'm sorry, I was letting that question process. Are you talking about the commissions using Zoom or?
Yeah, the boards, right? Rec board, let them meet via Zoom just as council is under the emergency declaration.
I mean, sure. I think why not? Given that I believe the planning commission's been trying as well. I think the more that we can try to facilitate the Zoom meetings among our council or council boards and commissions, the more we can kind of return to normalcy after the emergency declaration, after COVID has subsided, whatever normal will look like.
Right. And I think, Coletta and I have had this discussion. Maybe Zoom or something like Zoom becomes a permanent fixture, a part of our meetings where at least, if the declaration ends having a full council meeting via Zoom, we could have at least 4 of us in the room, and those who would like to participate via Zoom have the ability to do that. That way, if people are out of town, this becomes a normal venue. I think it's been working out. I know it would have helped Alice Glasser when she was on council. What we were doing with the iPad wasn't very effective. I think this is working out pretty well. We can have a hybrid approach moving forward, and maybe the Zoom recordings would supplant the YouTube recordings, and everything just be posted to the council website.
So,
And same thing goes for all the commission, planning commission, rec board, and that would maybe incentivize more participation in those meetings.
I would say in regards to the community room, so if we do decide to rent it out, there are going to have restrictions, whether that be folks are social distancing, they're wearing masks. My only concern with that is who's going to enforce that? Because right now the borough staff has enough on their plate. So I wouldn't want to add any more responsibilities on their list that they already have. So it might be wise, maybe give it till the next meeting and revisit it to kind of see where things are, because we just went green on Friday. And 2 weeks from now, we'll have more information as to what would be good to do in regards to the
I
community
couldn't
room.
agree more with Councilman Saba. I mean, I was at Starbucks today in the drive-through line, and I witnessed some folks walking into the store without a mask on. And last weekend I was at Home Depot and witnessed a few folks just casually walking around without masks on. If large corporations, which we, are taking our cue from in a lot of respects societally, can't enforce social distancing and can't enforce mask wearing, I don't see how that we can do it. And if they want to take that liability, that's certainly on them. I am not going to go on record as being responsible for that. So I think that, I don't need Russ down there. I don't want Charisma down there enforcing to folks that they need to stay 6 feet apart. I just don't think it's in our best interest. And with Anthony's statements I think are accurate, that we just went green. So let's give it some more time and see where we're at, maybe later in the summer.
Toledo?
I would support keeping it closed. I would support everything that Mr. Kraus and Mr. Saba have said, and just pointing out the obvious, that those rentals are on the weekends and evenings usually, so we don't even have any coverage. So I'd fully
Great
support
point.
I would fully support keeping it closed until regulations proceed further on.
And it's my understanding that the other rental facilities in the borough, they're remaining closed at the time too. Is that correct, Mr. Crown?
Yeah, I do know that the Crafton Fire Hall is closed.
All right. Russ, in this line of discussion, what's happening with the blood drive?
Well, the blood drive is waiting for a decision from me, and that's why I threw it out to you guys. I mean, based on what you're telling me, the blood drive is going to have to be canceled because it's it's going to fall. It's I think it's within a week. So I'll have to let her know that cannot happen there.
I would think that logically asking folks that are giving away blood and putting them, by giving blood, you're willingly immunocompromising yourself. I'm not a doctor, but it would seem like a witch's brew to ask them to do that and be potentially exposed to a deadly virus in the process.
And please let me be clear, when I put this on just for discussion, I'm not condoning that we open it. I don't have a policy in place. I don't have a cleaning schedule in place. I have none of that in place. So I am not a proponent or trying to be a proponent of opening the community room in any way, shape, or form. So I do appreciate a lot of your comments.
So question, with regards to the blood drive, is it possible for them to set up under one of the pavilions at the park so they could do that?
An outdoor venue is not allowed.
Not allowed.
Not for them. Their policies, no way.
Are we able to put them in contact with the American Legion, kind of like we did with the election?
We will suggest that, absolutely.
Or at the school district, at the big gym up at the high school. That's typically where we had our American Red Cross blood drives when I was in high school. We had them at the gym, and that's you don't have to go through an elevator and have the same kind of confined spaces that we have at the Borough complex.
We will give that suggestion to the coordinator, all of them, and hopefully she can find another venue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so that's the end of the discussion items. Going to move forward to community announcements.
Do we have any council members with any business, Mr. President?
Do we? I didn't receive anything for the discussion items.
Mr. President, am I able to discuss an item real quick?
Sure.
On a previous agenda. I know in the past, in March, we we're supposed to have a workshop for the proposed non-discrimination ordinance. Are we able to facilitate a Zoom type venue to proceed with that ordinance within the next upcoming weeks?
Yeah, I think you could coordinate a date and time and get it published via Savvy. Solicitor Corbel, any other criteria? Does it have to be published in the paper, or can we go through Savvy Citizen and the website?
Yeah, it's not legally required to be advertised in the newspaper, so you can proceed through Savvy Citizen website, that sort of thing. Unless you would want to, you certainly can do it that way, but no requirement to do so.
All right, and to that end, Manager McKibben, are the staff in the process of putting together the next newsletter? Is it on their radar? You there? He looks frozen.
He looks frozen.
Yeah, we need to update our Borough internet, I think.
Yeah, I can't hear a word anybody's saying half the time. I'm sorry. This
I'll
is
spell it out to you.
ridiculous.
Okay. The newsletter. With regards to that, are they working on that, or is that something they're going to be working on? Because I think we should give an update with all the COVID updates, let people know what's allowed, what's not allowed, give them a status update of the different projects that are going to be going on.
Looks like he froze.
Moving on.
All right, I'll talk to you offline about that, and I'll move on
Okay.
here to community announcements. Borough parks are open and shelters available for Crafton residents to rent. The borough strongly advises that social distancing should be maintained. The borough office will remain closed to the public. However, staff is available during normal business hours and can be reached via telephone or email. There is a drop box in the rear of the building for any written correspondence. Any changes to this action will be posted on the borough website and Savvy Citizen. The Crafton Library will be opening with limited hours for curbside only service beginning June 15th. Please visit their website for further details. All right, so with that, I'm going to move forward to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for your participation, and look forward to seeing everybody at the next meeting. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.